Hello again, friends. We're back in front of our Little Inferno, and this time, I'll be fulfilling a request. After my last Little Inferno video, in which I burnt my least favorite game from each platform that I've played, someone asked me to burn all the bad Sonic the Hedgehog games. Now, I had to do some research because there's a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog games that have come out since the golden age of gaming when I was a kid, and all those Sonic games for the Sega Genesis came out. And I gotta say, the overwhelming majority of the Sonic games that have come out have not gotten rave reviews. So, we are going to have ourselves a little Sonic the Hedgehog game cover art barbecue. And I have a little surprise at the end. And since the Sonic the Hedgehog movie is coming out soon, this video is actually rather timely, so I hope you all enjoy it. The first game up, Shadow the Hedgehog. Now, I have not played any of these games I'm about to show, and I should say, I found so many games that got mediocre to bad scores. I'm going to have to divide this video into two parts, so stay tuned for part 2. And I had to do extensive research, and I had to narrow it down to 3 points for each game, describing why it's bad. For Shadow the Hedgehog, the biggest complaints I found were the poor targeting system, bad camera, and clunky controls, which bad control seemed to be a major complaint across all these Sonic games. And in this first video, I'll be showing mainly all the newer Sonic games. Sonic games that have come out within the last, 15 years or so. Newer on a scale of, whether it came out like on a CD versus came out on a cartridge. So all of these games, for the most part, came out by the time I was already an adult. So, Shadow, why don't you hide under the shadows of these hedges? Oh, there goes the duckies. Bye-bye, Shadow. Next game on the list, Sonic the Hedgehog for Xbox 360, also known as Sonic 06. Now this one I'm more familiar with than the rest, due to the 2-part review by the Angry Video Game Nerd, and a good review, I should say. There is a laundry list of complaints about this game, but the biggest ones that I saw were the insidiously long loading screens, the uncooperative camera, and just bad control all around. So, here's our loading screens, our bad camera, our bad controls, and we have to have our greedy CEO that did such a poor job with Sonic the Hedgehog. There we go. There we go. Goodbye, Sonic 06. Goodbye loading screens, goodbye bad camera, goodbye bad controls. Next game, Sonic and the Black Knight. This is one of the story adventures that came out for the Wii. My wife and I actually got this for one of her younger cousins for Christmas one year. Never heard anything back about the game one way or the other, but Uh, some of the big complaints about this game were the frustrating gameplay, repetitive combat, and the lack of precision in the Wii control. Uh, so let's do homage to the Black Knight with another sword and the double entendre of the word night with the moon. And let's set the moon on fire. Sound good? There we go. Now it looks more like a meteor. Goodbye, Sonic and the Black Knight. Man, this moon's taking forever to burn up. Any day. Okay, there we go. Next game on the list, Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric. Now, I became aware of this one several years ago and heard that it was extremely bad. Major complaints: very unoriginal and bland concept, tedious combat, and frame rate issues, which is the bane of almost any game. So, here's our frames. And here, let's have a Sonic Boom with this Sonic Boom box. Goodbye, Sonic Boom. Rise of Lyric. Next, we have Sonic Boom Shattered Crystal for the 3DS. Because the first Sonic Boom game was so fantastic, why not make another one? Of course, I'm not 100% sure that this one came second, but I assume that it did. Chief complaints with this title: slow progression, clumsy controls, and uninspired level design. Now, when you have a Sonic the Hedgehog game, you have to have good level design. You know, the levels have to be memorable. And if you don't have that, well, what can I say? So, Shattered Crystal. And here's our slow progression with a nice slow zombie. Uh-oh. He wasn't heavy enough to shatter it. Ha! He lost his legs. Okay. Crunch. I enjoyed that. Now let's clear the Little Inferno. Okay. Next game on the list: Sonic Forces. Now, I didn't even hear about this one. I discovered this one through research. Major complaints with this title: too short, too easy, and broken controls, of course, because what would a modern Sonic game be without busted controls? So guess what? Too short, too easy, busted controls means it puts the audience to sleep. Kind of reminds me of those little singing totems in Animal Crossing. Anyone ever play Animal Crossing? I played the original for GameCube back in 2002. Man, that was 18 years ago. Whew. Moving on, we have Sonic Freeriders for the Kinect. And now you already know, with the reputation of modern Sonic games, and trying to put it into a motion control environment, you knew it wasn't going to be good. So, of course, major complaint number one, spotty Kinect controls. Also, unbalanced AI, and an unimpressive campaign mode. So, Sonic Freeriders, let's go for a free ride. All over you. Oh, don't worry. We're going to get it. Oh, yeah. Gravedigger! Little monster truck reference for those of you that have ever been into monster trucks. Next on our list, Sonic Lost World for the Wii U. Had no idea this game existed until I started researching bad Sonic games. Biggest complaints here? Gameplay inconsistencies. Lack of difficulty scaling. And irksome level design. I guess that means that the levels were not laid out in an intuitive way, and it was like frustrating to find your way to the goal or find your way around or something like that. So, Sonic Lost World. Let's see you get lost in this world as I set the world on fire. Oh yes, very nice. Next game on the list, Sonic Riders for the PlayStation 2. Now, of all the Riders games, I believe this was the first one. Big complaints about this one. Mediocre overall presentation, meaning that just the execution of the game was unimpressive, unsatisfying gameplay, and sluggish controls. And sluggish controls is not something you want in a game that's supposed to be fast-paced when you're riding on hoverboards and stuff like that. So, Sonic Riders, let's go for a terrifying school bus ride. Wow. That was beyond my expectations. So, last game in part 1 of 2, Sonic Unleashed. In this game, I learned you switch between daytime and nighttime, in which at night Sonic turns into a Little Hedgehog, and apparently has to do a whole lot of brawling. Major complaints? Excessive backtracking, never a good thing. Unfulfilling combat. Apparently the brawl mode, when you play as a Little Hedgehog, is a monotonous button masher. And tedious nighttime levels. So, we are going to unleash our hounds on the Hedgehog. Oh, slide him over so we're all facing the same direction. And yeah, why don't we start with this one? Seems appropriate, don't you think? The howling. So that does it for the games. For this edition, as promised, I have a special surprise. Since I mentioned before that the Sonic movie is coming out, it's worth noting that the studio that was developing the Sonic movie made a huge blunder in their original design of Sonic. And they actually listened to fan feedback and improved Sonic's overall look, and made him look much more like the Sonic we know and love. So now, we are going to get rid of this cringy image of the original Sonic with a mini nuke. I don't want it to get set on fire before the nuke goes off. We must do this carefully. It's armed. Not a trace. How satisfying. Well, that'll do it for part 1. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for part 2.